Good afternoon, beautiful divine beings, and welcome to my channel, Keeper of the Reaper. If you're new here, welcome to the weirdness. It is going to be exactly that. I'm not going to be for everybody, and that is totally fine. No hard feelings whatsoever. But if what I have to say, what I have to offer resonates with you, please, by all means, like, share, subscribe, leave me some love in the comments. Tell me, what resonates with you and all that good stuff. I would love to have you be a part of the Reaper crew. For those of you who are returning, thank you so much for finding something in me to return to. May it all serve you well. Now, if you are new here, I am not a tarot reader. I happen to read tarot cards. I utilize a lot of tools. I channel, I ramble, that's a part of my channeling too. And so my videos tend to be a bit long, but I can assure you, if you can hang on, if you can give me some attention for a little extended period of time, I promise it will serve you and your spirit well. Now, as far as the channeling goes, guys, it gets weird. It is what it is, okay? But it isn't what it is not. And so, if at any point in time you find yourself, getting hyper triggered by something I said, understand that you were triggered for a reason, for one. And two, your trigger is not my responsibility. And three, if you are free to move on at any point in time. You do not need to make a scene, so to speak, in my comments. Okay? Let's all behave. Okay, so the subject of today is feral divinity. Dark ones, light ones, and every motherfucker in between. Welcome to the new breed, and if that resonates with you, stick around, because it's about to get very good. Reaper crew, what is that? Well, that just so happens to be the collective that I'm speaking to. We are not sheep, but we are not your average wolf either. Feral divinity is the new breed that is being risen up because we are proving in the way that we have worked with ourselves in this vessel to raise it up into a divine status with us so it can properly reflect and represent our innermost being. Most have given up on this mission. I, however, will not be having it. These precious, sacred beings that we happen to inhabit at this time have been extorted, abused, farmed like fucking, anyway, trafficked, and it has gotten so out of hand. Hey guys, we're here to set it right. Give me 1 second, somebody's knocking at my door. Okay, so, sorry about that. Anyway, we have taken the time to get to know our beast, so to speak, our flesh, our body, and its own mind that it has had before we can move on it. The subconscious, if you will. Now, a lot have given up on this because it's very powerful, and many have lost themselves inside of it. That is not the beast's fault. That is the divinity that had decided to step into that without understanding what it was jumping into. Okay? Now, think of it, a good way to think of it is like a circus, right? Not all circuses are the same. But it's usually the biggest ones, the ones that get the most advertisement, the ones that get the most seats filled and everything, are the ones who have a variety of animals that perform in their circus. Now, most of the time, which is why we don't usually see them anymore, is because those animals are so severely abused to perform and put on a show, just to entertain an audience. Now, what happens usually when an animal who's been abused for a long time finally snaps in front of an audience? when its handler whips it too hard one too many times, and it just so happens to be in the middle of the show. Has anybody ever seen Dumbo? But outside of the Disney version, those animals get destroyed. Of no fault of their own. They didn't do anything. Well, what keeps happening with these sacred vessels, huh? Oh, we have the goose. Take time to rest and recuperate rather than continuing your striving. Okay? Now, a lot of us have been doing the work to alchemize and raise up the energies within us, bringing awareness to them, because a lot of that comes from the subconscious, the things that get repressed and pushed back, because it is a reflection of exactly what I was talking about. That animalistic side, and most people just want to act like we're not like that. We're not like that. Well, yeah, the fuck we are, but we can train it and work with it, not because it's less. You ever see somebody work with an elephant? Are they less than an elephant? No, the fuck they are not. That elephant just happens to be tolerating being taught. It happens to be gentle enough to want to learn, etc. We have zebra. Let go of your fear and know that you are safe and protected at all times. Exactly. And the safer that these animals feel in the presence of their handlers is reflected in how willing they are to perform without having to be abused, beaten, or kind of shoved into submission to do that which it is asked to do. Now, in order for that to happen, effort has to be applied. You have to spend time with it. You have to understand it. You have to tend to its needs. You have to provide gentle direction, gentle discipline that is effective and not abusive, etc. Okay? And those in my collective, we are like the animal trainers, so to speak. Okay? We've got two that came out. It's gorilla. Take time to listen compassionately to those you love, especially your family members. Hello. You can take that as broadly or as narrowly as you like. I like to go deep. Kiwi. Do a walking meditation each day for the next week. Exactly. So, like, a lot of dog trainers will tell you, when your dog's acting crazy, being destructive, most of the time it's just a lot of pent up energy. And taking it for an hour walk twice a day will usually help expend that energy and redirect the mind into not being destructive. You see, the human vessel, okay, is very much like an animal in the way that it has its urges and everything, and the divinity that has decided to occupy these vessels. Because that was like a big thing with the Nephilim, like divinity has tried to occupy other things, and it just did not, for one, it didn't reflect what they were wanting to reflect quite the right way, but two, it created, like, there were certain limits and boundaries that just could not be bridged. But in a different form, they were able to kind of be stewards of these other creatures and be able to reflect themselves in an appropriate way and all that. But over time, this bond has been lost, and the education surrounding how it all works and everything has been manipulated and distorted and blah, 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 to fit a narrative of the ringleader, so to speak. Now, I was talking about the weapons class, right? In my last video. And part of what makes my collective so powerful is we are heavily armed. We are like beastmasters. In ancient times, the most powerful soldiers had animals fighting alongside them in war. Bears, elephants. I mean, they utilized all kinds, like even snakes and stuff. They would carry snakes and things with them, venomous snakes and stuff that would not bite them, but however, somehow knew to bite an enemy, you know? Well, it's time would be life-saving. The evolution point has hit for those of us who are these beastmasters, so to speak. Evolving into our amalgamated form that we have worked with our BC to create. We are raising up the flesh into divinity because it has proven to be the best representative of divinity due to its willingness and just sheer want to be a part of it. It's what separates us from all the other rest of creation, okay? But we were charged with this task. We were not... Anyway, I'll get into that in a second. We have Lilial, Angel of Night. So isn't this interesting? New life, and then we have Angel of Flame, which is the original light. And then Lilial, Angel of Night. This new life that's being born out of this culmination. And what has fueled it has been love, patience, guidance, loyalty, and being able to endure for the sake of each other. Our beasts have endured for us, in trusting that everything that we do is not only in our best interest, but for them too. And those of us who have taken the time to reflect and appreciate what we inhabit and what it does for us, I don't think many understand. If these bodies were not available to us and chose to rebel against us, we would have no fucking way to navigate this realm of existence as immersively as we do. They're powerful. Way more powerful than you have ever been made aware of. Not your average wolf. An aware wolf. Okay? We start off as sheep, as these herd type beings who are subject to the herd mentality, who are subject to being led straight into the slaughter because we seek out a shepherd. That's fine. But not every shepherd is a good one. Okay? And as we have come into these sheep, so to speak, some of us, the combination of us with them and the way we choose to work with them has raised them up, and suddenly, oh, this little black sheep has fangs. Well, luckily, not every wolf out there, when these sheep were kind of exiled from their flocks, not every wolf was just looking for something to devour. It's like, oh shit, this doesn't look like all those other sheep. Oh shit, this sheep's got fangs. Alright, well, let's teach it a few things. And over time, it evolves. And it starts to become something new. Welcome to the other side of the scapegoat. Not every wolf is looking for an innocent little something just to toy with to devour it. Some of them work closely with shepherds to protect a flock and to keep the wolves who wish to do nothing but devour and are always waiting in the wilks. Something's got to protect that sheep, and something's got to be there for that shepherd, right? The magician came out. And so a lot of you are like getting to that point where you're frustrated, you're agitated, you're dealing with these new emotions, and because your beast is speaking to you, it is very valid. I want what I was promised. Yes, and you will receive what's promised. But we have to make sure that we're representing our fellow ferals correctly. Because in order to bring this all the way through, we have to be able to show that we can utilize these vessels appropriately, especially with what we're wanting to bring in for ourselves and these vessels to experience together. Being aware, an animal being aware it's being abused would righteously, yes, righteously lash out and destroy that which is harming it. But this isn't about what's righteous and what's not righteous. This is about handling what we're dealing with here and understanding the bigger picture. And so we've chosen a vessel, right? And in order to be able to maintain that and to have it and to be able to give it that drink of ambrosia, so to speak, we have to be able to present it and show it forth that even under the most extreme circumstances, that a bond has been established to where you and this, it's not one is in control of the other, it's teamwork. That you have risen this flesh up into its own state of awareness that is just as comparable to divinity as you who occupies it. And that together you are able to think on your feet, to face whatever may come in a just manner. Right and wrong is not necessarily a part of this process. It's about adaptability and how well the problem, issue, whatever we are faced with can be resolved with as little peripheral damage outside and as little damage within. And that any damage taken on any aspect was not without just cause. Okay, like when you're training a dog or something and they're playing too rough and they nip you, instead of just taking your fist and bam, knocking the shit out of that dog and ooh. Ones who understand, oh shit, I notice when dogs play with each other, they make a sound, and that sound lets each other know that one of them's been hurt. So when that puppy nips you, you do that little oh, really loud. It catches their attention, like, oh shit, I'm sorry. You have to learn to speak that language, right? And it's difficult. But those of us who have embarked on this, and haha, I said embarked, and I just had a dog reference. Or anyways, whatever. I thought it was funny. We have taken the time to understand not only our own language, but the language of that which we occupy. How does it communicate? Okay, so when I'm feeling this way, because that is the realm of this creature, is feeling. So, and I have inserted myself in its ability to feel, right? Goodness, 3 fell, and I'm being told to take all of them. We have Ace of Swords, Wheel of Fortune, and the Sun. Okay? Now you gotta think. Let's just use, we'll speak metaphorically. Now let's just say that one day, somebody, for whatever reason, upon happenstance, found a dragon, right? And they hid it because they were like, oh my god, if they find out about this, they're going to take it to a lab and cut it up into 1,000,000 pieces or whatever. And so they were able to build a bond with it, but they had to keep it hidden, okay? But then this dragon starts to grow so big and you start to understand it's a cruelty to keep it cooped up. This is my friend. I bonded with this creature. And now I'm recognizing that in my act of trying to keep it safe, I'm actually doing it harm. Because it's not its fault that the rest of the world would not know how to deal with this dragon. And so say that your dragon got out one day. And people saw it. People took pictures of it flying, and it was having so much fun. It was the first time it ever got to like get out and really do anything. And let's say just for whatever reason, some guy was out hunting or whatever, and he's like, "Oh hell yeah, I'm gonna shoot that damn dog." Bam, shoots it. That dragon didn't know how to react to that. It got hurt. It turns to the person that shot it and blows fire on it. Now there's a national address, a national emergency, there's a fucking dragon setting shit on fire, and next thing you know, you have all these helicopters and shit up in the air trying to shoot at this dragon, and the poor dragon is absolutely freaked out, has no idea what's happening. It is doing everything in its power to try to keep itself safe because it's fucking terrified. And then it hits you. Oh shit. Me keeping this dragon from the world is what led to this. But there's another side to that sword now, isn't it? Because if you would have presented it to begin with, somebody would have come in and tried to convince you as to why you are unfit, and by force try to take it from you to use for whatever means they would want. So it's a very delicate balance. Because we're not talking about your average animal here. We're talking about a creature that is so powerful and is reaching an evolutionary point it has to be handled responsibly, and you have to step up and prove that you can handle this. And it will be so worth it. So fucking worth it. Because you have to respect the power that we already hold inside this flesh and the flesh itself. You clearly see, look around you, all that can come of the bond, just as it is now. Much less after you have risen up your flesh and aspects of yourself within it, and have been able to together think of a form that you could bring together into existence. That's a whole new level of power. And it is a huge responsibility. And so guys, please understand that it might be hard right now. You're feeling energies and stuff because your body can feel this evolutionary point. Like I've been saying, paying attention to the solar flares, what that means, how it's communicating to your body, and how you can listen to your subconscious to be able to better understand, to be able to speak the language of energy. So you're not having miscommunications and not, because sometimes ignorance can lead to profound cruelty, even if you have the best of intention. Perfect example, you leave a 5-year-old alone with a newborn baby all day with no adult supervision. That 5-year-old might have all the best intentions, should be the sweetest kid, you never want to hurt a fly. Not know how to pick that baby up. Or not know that it needs a bottle instead of baby food or whatever, and tries to end up giving it a sandwich, the poor thing choked to death. It doesn't mean that that 5-year-old's cruel, but you don't put something, you don't pair something with another something that they're not going to be prepared for, even if they have the best of intentions. Because it's not just about that 5-year-old and their beautiful intentions, now is it? It's about that baby that somebody was thinking about leaving with it. And the very serious reality that could occur as a result of that 5-year-old not being aware of how to properly care for it. Now, as far as the cards go, the Magician, manifesting, turning substance into form. Applying all of your tools and using them, combining them to form something outside of yourself, for you to experience. The alchemical process, going through that. In this process, you have discovered a profound truth. But you have an awareness of all that hangs in that balance. And as soon as this creature emerges forth, that wheel of variables, have you navigated enough variables considering your beast? Or have you only been considering yourself? The reason you navigate these variables is because, think of it like the Wheel of Fortune, like a big wheel, okay? And when you have navigated these slots, you have eliminated off of that wheel, when you do this with focus, intention, and so forth, you eliminate off of that wheel negative experiences of that which you and your vessel do not want to experience. And you replace those with the next level of, okay, so we'll do this and this and this. And as you continue to do that, it narrows down, and eventually that wheel of variables will have a majority of positive things to land on, okay? Because that wheel will always continue to spin. Now, you can only plan so much. You can only navigate so much because you aren't going to know everything. And this is going to be new territory. But from what you've observed and witnessed, you can turn that knowledge into wisdom to help serve you moving forward. So I know that the body reacts to this way, and that which occupies it has a tendency to react to that stimuli in this way. So we need to keep this into consideration. We need to make sure these stimuli are kept to a certain degree so that it doesn't bombard the whole being, and so on and so forth, across the board, right? And this is why reaping is so important, because we pay attention to the roots and how they branch out, right, through the entire garden, and how it impacts every little thing that is in the soil of that garden and everything that which walks upon it. So if there's a bush that has bad roots and the fruit that grows from it ends up being bad, and then something that walks upon that garden that is a part of that whole ecosystem happens to eat that fruit, then it starts acting out of character, it gets poisoned, and that whole process, then it ends up like shitting somewhere, right? And then the bugs get into this shit, and then the bugs carry the bacteria. Next thing you know, the whole fucking thing is out of whack. So what does a reaper do? They come in, they trace it, they navigate it, they follow it all the way down to the root. They find the problem, swift, knock it out. And then get everything back in order. And then they stay tending to the garden. And a big part of their reward for this is because they are the ones that come through at harvest time. They pull the fruit, they get to judge. What fruit is good, what fruit is bad, what gets to stay, what has to go. And the pay is handsome. But it takes patience, it takes time, it takes dedication, and it takes a real fucking passion that cannot be faked in order to do correctly. And when you have something new that is springing forth into this garden, that's not just going to be a plant that's rooted into the ground, but something that is free roaming, that has a high place in this garden. Just like think about the food chain and like the natural order of things. You have like the little bacteria, you have insects, and you have all the way up to the apex predator, right? Which is king of said garden, correct? Now, human has been king, so to speak, of the garden so far, but it's been noticed how reckless that which was left in charge had been. So the Reapers have to come in. No hard feelings on anybody. It's not about you. It's not about this. It's not about that. It's about getting to that fucking root, because all of this, all of it is impacted by this, by that. And if it's not seen to or tended to properly, all of this goes to shit. And if the apex predators get out of balance, guess what happens? We have to start completely fucking over. Nobody wants to come in and have a full upheaval of everything that is in the garden. We don't want to start off with dust and dirt. We've come too fucking far. Fuck that. Fuck that. Motherfuckers are out of their mind if they really think for a second that we will not use that scythe to prevent from having to do it all from scratch. You got nothing coming. But it's time to buckle down. Reinforcements are being sent to you guys, materially and spiritually, because it's the whole being that's being considered. So you can present it in a way that glorifies that which has been in the process of being created. Okay? Because this garden desperately needs new caretakers. And they cannot be too far from that which the garden itself is made of, if that makes sense. And that should be common sense as to why. We are meant to be connected to this earth for a reason. So we can tell when it's hurt, when it's crying out and needs assistance. And so many have just sat by and listened to these screams and have done fucking nothing. But those of us who hear it, we cannot help but rise to that. And every time we step forth and we do the fucking work, starting with ourselves, because that matters too. Because in that process, by just tending to yourself, this awareness for that which is outside of you naturally comes to you. Because you're reconnecting with that part that connects you with this realm. Okay? This had been tried before and it did not work out very well, because those who had amalgamated their aspects and their being, they took on certain forms and they got drunk with the power that came from it. They became addicted to it. It's a lot to handle. It is a lot. But it's not impossible. So we did what we had to do before, and here we are. We're going to get another chance to do this better. So we have to be careful and mindful of how we choose to react. It's not about just proving your point. It's not about getting what you're owed. It's about standing on your shit and working on you. Not just for the betterment of your experience, but because you realize the totality of it. And if you cannot do that, then you, like it or not, have absolutely no fucking business continuing any further on the mission in which you thought you could sign up for. Because we will not be putting this kind of weapon in the hands of those who continue to prove that they just aren't capable of it. And you getting mad about that is doing nothing but proving the whole fucking point of why you shouldn't be trusted with it. We are all given the means to defend, protect, whatever. But this is a different level of responsibility. Because it's not just about yourself. It is, but it's more than that too. because in your effort that you've come into so far, you should have by now had the aha of how, because you shape your reality for you, you navigate those variables. This is a shared plane, and it has to be balanced. Are you only caught up in what you want to experience, or are you considering everything else in what you choose to imagine for yourself and for your beastie? Or are you and your beastie just wanting to run the show and have everybody else under your feet? Because that was already done. And look at where we are. And something so much more powerful is stepping forth. Because that overseeing something is like, oh shit, yeah. No, you're right. It's time. It's time to step the fuck up. Those of us who have had the existential backbone to come toe-to-toe with source of the universe and be like, no, dude, open your fucking eyes and look. I know you love them. I love them. All of them. And yes, it's tragic that some are gonna have to, because they cannot get with the program. But is it worth destroying everything? And it took some work. But but that's why it's important to be honest and transparent, even when it's scary, to source of the universe and creation itself, each other. It's because when you continue to give something what it wants all the fucking time, and you neglect to give it what it needs. I don't like the definition and the meaning that is then given to the word monster. Monster is a very sacred word to me. And to have it be defiled because others wish to give meaning to that which they themselves created. Sometimes it is the most merciful thing to do to put whatever that is out of its misery and let it return after the shit's been cleared. And that there's a new influence overseeing what all is taking place, because otherwise the whole fucking... Anyway. Page of Pentacles. My paper got fucked up. Yeah. With this new job comes an entirely new set of benefits, responsibilities, so on and so forth. But you're being entrusted with it for a reason. Those of you who have that call and you understand what I'm saying, you understand this. And I know it's frustrating. I know. I get it. I feel it too. I can hear you. Whether you guys want to believe it or not, I don't care. That's totally beside the fucking point. It doesn't make fuck all to the fact that, I hear you. And it's awareness of this balance and that gentleness that is within you. Despite the reward that may come of it, whether or not you can see it yet, that reward should not be your only motivation for this. And if it is, then you have sorely missed the forest through the fucking trees. Because the reward is in the act of it itself. In the awareness of what you've known and what you've witnessed so far. And even in those times of chaos, being able to look in hindsight and say, well, that made sense. Turning that knowledge of all of those hindsight moments into wisdom to guide you forward. To provide yourself and your beast with comfort. and understanding that sometimes the only thing we can do is rely on ourselves, each other inside of ourselves. And trust that together, out of the love that we share, out of the purpose, and out of the willingness to be there for each other, not sacrifice one for the other or vice versa, because that may seem noble, but it's treasonous. To be able to stand and say, I understand that this is going this way, and I understand that out of love for me, you're willing to sacrifice yourself for me, but because I love you, I'm saying no. We go through this together, and we leave it together. Forever is forever. Eternity is eternity. And when you have had the nerve to sit there and declare chosen, so many are quick to throw that word around. Do you know what that is? Do you know what it means? Chosen for what? Do you know? Are you sure you know? What led you to that knowing? Have you walked that walk? Have you talked that talk? Have you been there? So that when you have told your vessel, you're chosen, that your vessel chooses you right back? Do you know what that looks like? Do you know what that feels like? Many of you, yes. You may not say it out loud because you're aware, and I get it, totally respectable, fine. It's the awareness that you have in you that truly counts. But you have to understand the time for getting over that fear, because your body is relying on you for this part. To be able to shamelessly step forth and say, I will not sacrifice this. I have chosen this, and despite whatever you may try to do with it, I will not forsake it. I will not flee from it to spare myself of having to feel and experience every bit of pain it suffers just because I struggle in. You do not cave. You do not waver. You stand in your fucking power and stand by that which you've chosen. Because that is the fucking key to unlocking everything that you will become together. But all this external seeking, there is need for external confirmation. That's not what I'm saying. But you have to understand that a lot of this is between you and yourself. And then you bring the outer equation into it. But if you cannot be good with your innermost aspects and the vessel that holds all of them, then why are you even trying to consider what's going on the outside? How are you even rationally, logically, and accurately coming to a conclusion of what is really going on outside of you? Now, how would you know at that point? Because you're so fucking divided within yourself, you can't see the forest through the trees. You are just a wandering animal in a garden that is being fucking destroyed. Because you want to get on an ego trip and notice that some of us are actually doing some shit, then you want to, are you kidding me? Get out of my fucking way. Point taken, G. Anyway. Universe wants you to know You have her support. Or source, what you do, you have her support. That because of this power, that a big part of the division, she was kept out of the equation for a lot because there was like a lover's quarrel. Like mom and dad were fighting, so mom and dad used the kids as weapons against each other. Oh wow, I was just shuffling at this game. Don't get too caught up in the circus that's going on around you. Focus on the task at hand, that which is closest to you, starting with yourself. Because anything that relies on you outside of yourself depends on the solidarity of you in the entirety of you. It shows that one's trust, that you are heard, you are considered. Do not be distracted by some of the natural things that are going to start to ramp up around you. You will be held protected because this creation is aware of the service you are providing. You will not be touched. When magic breaches through, it will be a lot to handle. But you are capable and you can do this, you can see it through. You will be given the tools you need. Take the trading of your weapon seriously at this time. Do not be reckless. This is not the time for rash actions. This is not the time for emotional outbursts. Hold your position where you are. Give your creature rest. Give it replenishment. Resources are being provided. Do not worry about where they may come from. They will come to you. Do not resist. And try to question how, why, from where. Just understand it's coming. Do not try to attach to how it's going to look when it arrives. Trust that it'll be granted. And not only in the way that it's needed, but in the way that is also wanted. The flesh is being considered also in this. Creature comforts are important. Look out for random headaches, for stuffy noses. Be mindful of waking up a lot during the night to urinate. This is a reflection of the alchemical processes and a part of a reflection of the cleaning, so to speak, that is going on. Think of it as water from within that has been used to spray and clean off that new material, so to speak, and it is draining out. Purifying. Pay attention. Ringing in the ears has increased. Stop paying so much attention on which ear that is ringing. Understand that it is like a tuning fork because the ears are both of use of influence to perceive sound and have to be retuned because an entirely new level of perception is being intermeshed into the current experience. And as well as sight. Please do not think too much or bother yourselves too much if you are seeing random specks of glittery light out of the corner of your eye, or if you find yourself gazing for a while, that which you are gazing at may turn into a kind of colorless gray void. Your eyes are being adjusted to see a new spectrum of light. One minute, please. Okay, sorry about that. It's okay, we'll eat in just a minute, I promise. Awakened beasts. Just as your rider has had to bridle you at times if you have respectfully held back. Know when to bridle your tongues. Just because they speak out of their mouth, the mouth that you have provided, mind you, that they are chosen, does not mean that that is so. Do not worry about your fellow family. Know when to utilize what you were granted with to keep your rider in check. And those of you who have yet to awaken, trust that those who are awakened will be here to guide gently and lovingly, and that the riders that have taken a seat upon you without giving you respect and mercy and grace will be dealt with accordingly, and you shall not be harmed. Be careful what you declare. We are reaching a new state of power and responsibility, but that does not mean that in our state that we are in right now is not powerful already. Do not be so proud and arrogant to go and declare something that you are incapable of reflecting or bringing through into this world. There are a lot of impressionable beings right now who are genuinely seeking answers, support, and understanding. And for you to want to declare you're something that you know inside you are not, or you are confused about, yet you want to present it as if you know, is an act of treason, mind you. Because when the time comes and they go to look to you and you cannot fulfill that role, then you have forsaken it. This is not a game. This is not pretend. This is not a fucking fairy tale. This is the stuff, the likes of which fairy tales are structured upon. This is deeper than that which you have been made aware of before. And yes, it's intimidating. Yes, it's hard work. But if you're willing to trust in yourself and to fucking rise up beyond the opinions and pressures of everything else around you, and you have the will and fortitude to turn and face yourself within yourself, you will be granted something, delight. It's indescribable. There's so much I know your eyes have longed to see. Your skin has longed to feel. Your ears have longed to hear. Your tongues have longed to taste. But there's a reason. It was withheld. And it wasn't out of cruelty. It wasn't out of meanness. And all the pointing fingers at everything, do you not see at this point why it was done this way? Are you willing to let go of everything you thought you knew? And to be a brand new creature, vulnerable, ready to learn instead of pretending as if you know everything? Could you humble yourself? And that goes for all aspects of you. Or will you continue to try to stand upon which something you don't even own, acting entitled? Do you truly know what seat you sit upon? What it's there for? Do you really think it's there to hold yourself above everybody else? Do you know what's in that seat? Do you know what the cushion's made of? Do you know what the legs of your throne are made of? What they can do? What the arms of the seat you sit upon, that you rest yours on, how far they can reach? That which has had to bear the weight of your own crown. You would have no seat, no material to make a crown out of. Are you willing to accept that this is not just about you? Can you live with that? My collective, yes, you can. Raise up. Stay strong. Because it's coming. It's coming faster than many. The mother has been kept away from her children. She's pissed. But she is a mother nonetheless. She loves to care for her children. She is also aware of her tendency to over-nurture. Why it's necessary for her to have taken the time to do her work too. So she did not allow herself to continue to cater to something that sought to destroy her. But she is stepping forth. And the combined power that is going to result in that, she is birthing something new. For those of you let's get the jar of weirds. Whew. Oh my goodness. My head. Ow. Right here. That got weird, didn't it? Whatever. Think of me what you will. I don't. I'm putting it out there for those who need to hear it. I gave you a warning from the get-go. It's weird. I'm weird. What I hold in me is weird. And we just don't be fucking weird. But don't sit there and act like deep down, y'all motherfuckers ain't just as friggin' weird. Don't let that programming suddenly kick in and... Anyway, we have, out of the weirdness, the rabbit with the violin. Or cello, whatever you want to call it. It's a stringed instrument. The Knight of Pentacles. Anyways, it's the Knight of Pentacles. These things are so fucking tiny. And then we have the red-capped female with her mouth. We have the Knight of Wands. Ooh, weird. The little. And then surprise guest. Well, that's intriguing to me because before I go to do this, because I'm presenting it out before others, I put things on my hand that just come channeled through using my dominant hand that's attached to the left side of my brain. I'm right-handed, so it's controlled by my left hemisphere. So I utilize that and I let it decorate my left hand with whatever comes to its mind. And for a while it had occultatum here, which meant hidden. And like it'll put like numbers like 888. So like this means purity. I don't necessarily understand what the M is there for yet, but we'll figure it out. The symbol for Pluto, this is protection. We have 888. This is for Athena. This is warrior. This, didn't mean to look at the bird there. Anyways, this, of course, and then Taurus, going to Taurus. And then this is for Magus. And this is for Aphrodite. And this is for Psyche. For those who are in with like the Greek stuff, whatever. And this is protection. Okay? And this is just whatever the fuck beastie wanted to decorate itself. But it likes to give little tidbits to other beasties. So when the eyes see things, the subconscious, the mother inside them, has that inner communication going on. It's another way for the inner aspects of me to interact with the inner aspects of you, even if your forward mind struggles to understand something. That's why I have said, if you could just bear with me, whether it makes sense to you or not, it will. Things will pay attention to your surroundings. Pay attention to the cards that I mentioned, the subject matter. And don't just take it as it is. Notice around you. In your day-to-day, after you are done watching and stuff, pay attention. I don't say anything for nothing. I wouldn't be doing this. I wouldn't be coming forward with any of this if I hadn't given it very careful consideration. I have spent so long living this shit. I would never present to anyone something that which I have not navigated myself. And you can trust that. As much of a marshmallow as I am, I have done really fucked shit in my life. And I stand by what I did. And I hold myself accountable. Because I took the action to make it right. I may not have been able to take it back. But I healed the parts of me that led to that. So it would not happen again. Because you can trust your awareness. Once your awareness hits, it cannot be undone. Don't ever let anyone trick you into believing otherwise. Don't ever let someone charge you twice existentially, proverbially speaking, metaphorically speaking, symbolically speaking, literally speaking. Continue to charge you for things that you did and had already not only served your time, paid your dues, repented, provided restitution, totally made right. That needed to come out. So we have the rabbit play the cello, which I take as like someone, like the heart is like a percussion instrument, right? But the vocal cords are strings. So the rhythm of the heart vibrates the strings, and the heart beats fast, right? Like a rabbit. Okay? And that kind of strums the strings of the vocal. So what comes out? 9 of Pentacles. Somebody, like the voice is powerful, but then we have this, if you ever heard the song The Sound of Silence, you can parallel some of this with that, because it has the individual in the red hood with a red band over its mouth with the female symbol under it, the mother trying to be silenced. Anyway, and then with the Knight of Wands with the little surprise guest. So without going the reason, like, part of it was like, think of like the Scarlet Letter, right? No one would listen. Like, say somebody speaks out a profound idea and they're immediately called crazy, and everyone's led to believe that that person and everything that comes out of their mouth is nothing but madness. Then it doesn't matter what ears it falls upon. No one is going to take it seriously and allow it to go any further than just a sound. And eventually, it doesn't even become sound because it doesn't land on any ears to actually be heard. But there's a little surprise guest. Oh, goodness gracious, you're killing me here. Alright. This is interesting. So we have this one, but it's stuck to the solar system. That's funny. Oh, shoot, he's got something stuck to his horn. We have the letter M. See? M. And this was also stuck to it. The letter K. And then we have walkie-talkies, so representative of communication over the airwaves. You can parallel that to like channeling, psychic, intuition, being able to hear the divine, or being able to telepathically speak across a long distance with another, whether or not you're aware of it. We have the blackbird. The pretty little butterfly. It's all pretty colors anyway. And then, there was the solar system. The whole friggity frack family there. Hold it up just in case there's anything that might show up along the edges. It might resonate with somebody. Because I do that sometimes when I do this for myself, is I'll watch some of the images that go around the edge as I scroll through it. Y'all please don't look at my armpit. Well, then I just said something about it. What the fuck? Anyway. Okay. We have the pink sweatshirt, no hood on this one. Okay, I'm just going to drop it over there on the little devil person with the K and M. The pink sweatshirt, the pink clothes from there's this little girl sitting on a witch's brew. She's got a little Halloween bucket, and there's like a little black cat at the tip of it. Somebody was calling. We'll call him back. And then there's 2 keys. Oh, 2 keys. Yes. I get it, I get it. No, we were just talking about like that with the beat. Yeah, okay. Alright, so this spell, so the two keys belong, like belonging to this, you wrap up. Oh, like wrap something up, like maybe that's what it's paralleling, like wrap up, like when somebody's like, when you're cold, they're like, wrap up, get warm. Maybe that sweatshirt thing. Anyway, we're gonna find out. Sporty. So something that's not gonna be too bulky, too big. Wonderful. Then we got the Four of Cups. I was just talking about the circus, the 3-ring circus. So wrapping up this sporting of that which we clothe ourselves in. Wrapping up that cruelty, that because we're starting to feel that apathetic reverberation, you know, if our internal state is what is put out and reverberates back to us to create our experience, then no wonder we are feeling unfulfilled, apathetic, kind of down, and just like, it's just not enough. You're right. Because there's supposed to be so much more to this experience, but these things have to be navigated, and those who have these substances to be able to rise to a point to be able to help had to be granted the time to work with their beastie, to learn to play nice, and think about more than just, but I want it now. I want. Yeah, well, you know what? If you don't consider that which you occupy, you ain't gonna have shit. Like, literally not even a physical fucking turd. You will be stuck in existential null space. Always at potential and never into form. Always substance, no form. Exactly. You gotta share the crayons, share the colored pencils, the whole spectrum. Quit focusing on black and white and then wondering why your world is dull. Shine light on all the colors. You can adjust hue, saturation to your liking. Lighting is everything. Set the mood to your experience. It's not fucking, who gives a shit? If they don't like your lighting, they can get the fuck out of it, right? There's plenty of room here. Everybody gotta chill the fuck out. Being so entitled. Ha. My soul fam friend would appreciate this. We were having a conversation about a web and a spider. So there's that. Then we have temperance. Oh, this is interesting because then we have the wasp. Now this is interesting because just earlier today, I was on the porch and we have this big ass, big juicy booty spider right above our door. And we were hearing this bzzz going on, and it had caught this huge fucking hornet, and she was wrapping him up like, I mean, quick as shit. Like he didn't stand a chance. Hey, if you know, you know. If you don't, you about to find out. I'm glad I'm good with me. Alright, guys, collective, I hope this has served you well. I know it got really weird. I'm not going to apologize. It is what it is. And what will be, will be. Let go of what was. I'm ready to come out and play. Are y'all ready to come out and play? Alright, well, let's get this shit done. Okay? Happy reaping.